Now, the adults among the group of 37 Haitians who arrived in Jamaica in July 2023 have reportedly been granted permission to work. Attorney at law and Haitian advocate Melania Lane says that the permission was granted following an application before the Supreme Court earlier this month. The measures have been taken while the Haitians await the outcome of their asylum appeal. Their application for asylum was rejected in February by the National Security Ministry. At that time, Ms. Lane indicated that she'd appeal the decision, and she joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. So talk to us, Ms. Elaine, before we go to the break, about the developments. What came out of court? Why is it that permission was granted for them to work?
Well, we are waiting on an official communication from the Ministry of National Security, which we understand is forthcoming. And so all I can provide, and I want to be careful in reporting, I can just provide an update on the developments that have taken place in the last week. Mm-hmm. And those developments are that on June 6th, we were before the Court of Appeal to address the constitutional claim, the application for court orders in relation to the Haitian asylum seekers in St. Mary. One of the orders we requested was an injunction to prevent the government from returning them before the determination of the claim, as well as certain interim declarations as to the rights of the Haitian asylum seekers while their claim is being determined. An injunction was granted with the consent of the parties, which I think underscores what we can achieve when we reach consensus on certain non-controversial issues and then leave to the court the issues that we think are too complex for that type of determination. But subsequent to that, the Haitians were moved to another facility and told that there would be arrangements made for them to work in Jamaica, to be granted permission to work in Jamaica, and that we would be provided more, information and official documentation in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Hold the line, Ms. Elaine. When we come back from the break, we hear from you about who granted that permission and how is that set to practically work. We're going to take a break and come back with more.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
7:31.
Motorists, listen up, cause me have a couple tips. If you ride on your bike, have on your helmet. Seatbelt is a must, no drive without it. And make sure the little one them well strap in. Make sure them fit good in a them car seat. Pedestrian this term, bring back to mind everything where you learn. Never you cross when you see a green light. Look right, then left, then again look right. Remember now, if it dark outside, make sure you wear something when look bright. Walk right or drive, be wise, stay alive. On the road, be safe, stay alive.
Road safety begins with you. A message from the Road Safety Unit.
He's the protector, provider.
He's my favorite. Thanks, Daddy.
He'll do anything for the people he loves. This Father's Day, let him know how much you appreciate him. Use your Sagicor Bank credit card from June 5 to 16 to get him something special. And you could win up to $250,000 cashback with your Sagicor Bank credit card.
You're the best daddy ever.
Keep using your Sagicor Bank credit card for the best rewards ever. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
The best Burger King with the best tasting burger under the sun. You deserve the best. You are number one. Best. Flame grilling, juicy whopper, cause you deserve it. Yeah, next level, awesome. That's how we serve it. Mama menu done your way. You got to taste rules every day. Flame grilled goodness, you deserve it. Great taste, well done. More flavor, fresh Burger King, best tasting burger under the sun.
Accelerate your career with the right ally. Mona School of Business and Management. Explore our suite of highly ranked, specialized, globally competitive graduate degrees, including our internationally accredited MBA program. At MSBM, we nurture critical thinkers and innovative leaders, placing our graduates in a league of their own. Join the community of trailblazers making an impact at home and abroad. Apply online today. Global knowledge, regional solutions.
This outstanding 6'4" athlete credits Jamaica with her first Olympic victory ever.
Jamaica is filled with Olympians.
World record holder McKinley dashes into the lead.
We must never forget the forerunners of Jamaican Olympic greatness.
Coming into the home stretch, it's Wint who challenges the leader.
Win or lose, athletes never forget their Olympic experience.
Fairly Naughty has devastated another world-class field. And Hemmings is going to do it. Hemmings wins it. She's the champion. A personal...
Win or lose, Jamaicans will cheer the loudest at the Olympics so that the world will never forget who we are.
And Usain Bolt is moving away. And Jamaica retain their title. And the world record has been taken apart. Oh, I say.
From July 26 to August 11, tune in only to Nationwide 90 FM for the coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, because we're here to ensure that you never forget. Nationwide's coverage is powered by our bronze sponsors: National Road Operating and Construction Company Limited, Digicel, Grace Foods, Spirits of Jamaica, Imperial Optical Jamaica, and Rainforest Caribbean.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning, having a conversation with attorney at law and founder of Freedom Imaginaries, Melania Lane, about some recent developments in relation to the Haitians who arrived in Jamaica in July last year and have been seeking asylum. Ms. Lane was able to tell us before the break that they have started that asylum appeal process after the initial application was rejected by the Ministry of National Security. And when they made that first court appearance, they've been able to obtain an injunction barring the ministry from returning the Haitians before the outcome of that appeal process. And subsequent to that court appearance, Mr. Lane also indicated to us that there has been word now that the Haitians will be able to work. Mr. Lane, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
So, who gave a word information that the Haitians will be able to work, and how is that going to work?
Well, I want to first of all say that this is a step in the right direction, but also to note that the information surrounding what's happening is, very confusing because we haven't been provided with an official, official documentation on what exactly is happening. I just received calls from Haitians, frantic calls saying that authorities are here, are we being returned to Haiti? And you can imagine the anguish and despair at the thought of being returned to Haiti. I did subsequent checks and, based on what was communicated to them as well, but taking into account the language barrier, we were able to ascertain that, they were being moved to another facility and they would be allowed to work. But the details as to what is their legal status in Jamaica right now and what is the process that they're under right now, for me, is still uncertain.
But who has indicated that information that they'll be able to work?
The Ministry of National Security.
And that information came from the National Security Minister? I mean, the National Security Minister instructed somebody from out of his ministry to pass on that information to the Haitians?
I don't have those details, but I spoke with someone at the Ministry of National Security, and officials were with the Haitians while the move was being made, communicating information to them as well.
And when was this communicated to the Haitians?
I believe on Monday.
On Monday, that they'll be able to work. So no other information was provided as to how that would be operationalized?
As I said, the official documentation, I understand, is forthcoming and will be sent to me, but I haven't received it yet.
From a well-being perspective, Ms. Alain, how important is this development that the Haitians will be able to put their time to some useful purpose?
This is extremely significant, and as I said, a step in the right direction. Recall that under Jamaica's refugee policy, even if it is determined that an applicant isn't eligible for refugee status, there is scope for the authorities to say that they have, permission to stay on humanitarian grounds, and they will be allowed to work and access other basic rights. And in our appeal, that was one of the points that we made, which is that even if you are taking long to determine their refugee status, or even if you ultimately decide that they don't fall within the, designation of refugee, there is still this humanitarian ground, and we know what's happening in Haiti. We know that the crisis continues to escalate and deteriorate, and that it's catastrophic. And so if they don't meet the definition of refugee, which we believe that they do, at the very least, they should be granted leave to stay on humanitarian grounds, and I sincerely hope that this is a process that's now being engaged.
What is the skill set of, or what areas of endeavor are the Haitians, the adults, capable of pursuing livelihoods in?
I want to say, with all of the optimism in the world, that I have spent almost a year getting to know this group of Haitians. I cannot even put into words how talented and industrious and hardworking this group of Haitians, how they are. And I can't understand why Jamaica wouldn't want to benefit from the energy and the skills that they have to contribute. And what I would say to employers is that, you have a body of Haitians who are exceptionally talented, whether in masonry, art and craft. They could even be trained as interpreters, because we do know that we have an important need for language interpretation in Jamaica. And so I would say that they are emblematic of the benefits from integrating Haitians into Jamaican society, rather than what is unfortunately focused on, which is, the disadvantages in terms of concerns about security.
So you say masonry, art and craft, with some people even have the capacity to be trained to do interpretation. So are there there are artisans in the group, from what you say? Are there academics in the group?
I don't want to comment on that. I don't know in detail their academic background, but there are persons who would have gone to university, trained in skills, even, for example, a chef in the group. And so what needs to be done as a matter of urgency is to understand the skill set of the group, and to also understand how those skills can be developed, or new skills can be developed, so that they can integrate and contribute to Jamaican society.
In terms of the monitoring of their movements, because clearly that there has to be that element to it while the appeal is sorted through, what arrangements would you be comfortable with?
Well, under international human rights and refugee law standards, the principle is one of freedom of movement. Movement is not to be restricted, and so I would hope that the arrangements being made would comply with that international standard. There is no reason to restrict movement. To restrict movement, you would have to show compelling reasons why that would be necessary, and so far I have not seen where those compelling reasons exist.
Oh, so all right. So I'm happy you're on that track. So you're saying that insofar as what happens internationally and what is prescribed to happen, this status that the Haitians will enjoy of being able to work, they should be able to move and operate freely as every Jamaican here who has a right to be here. The rights that they would enjoy, the same rights should be accorded to the Haitians, even with this temporary status that they will be given?
So that is my view. That is not what I understand will be the position. I understand that there will be some monitoring and restrictions on their movement. But my position is that under international human rights and refugee law, if you want to restrict the movement of someone, including asylum seekers, you would have to have compelling reasons to do so. And in my estimation, asylum seekers seeking refuge in Jamaica, first, should never be penalized for quote-unquote illegal entry. In fact, that's explicitly prohibited under the Refugee Convention. And second, the Refugee Convention explicitly recognizes the rights to freedom of movement and other rights. And so even as their asylum status is being determined, I would say that these rights apply unless there is a compelling reason that is, presented and shown to exist that would warrant restricting freedom of movement.
It may seem like a minor detail, but I'm still wanting to know. So the arrangements around the Haitians when they are in work, in terms of will they be able to open bank accounts? Will they be able to get the necessary documentation that support someone working in Jamaica? And even, I don't know how the tax arrangements will go. Are those arrangements going to be put in place, or they'll be given a special status which waives those requirements?
Will there be any temporary identification cards given to them as well?
My understanding is that there would be identification cards, but I just want to emphasize that I don't have this information, and I think it underscores some of the gaps in terms of how the government operates. Why do this in the darkness without prior notification? Why just show up to the camp and, move them somewhere without, having a dignified process, because they could have simply notified the Haitian attorneys at law, inform them of what was being contemplated and provide official documentation so everyone's on the same page, and then have an organized, dignified process. But as I said, I want to focus on the positive.
Yes.
And say this is a step in the right direction, but I hope that going forward, it will be done in a dignified way where information is shared in a timely manner.
Time is almost up, Maylene. The children in the group, insofar as their schooling is concerned and the other needs that children need to have met, what's happening there? What's the update you can give us?
My understanding is that the children will be allowed to access the education system. I'm not sure how proactive the government is going to be in ensuring that happens.
Insofar as the schooling that they've been exposed to since they've been in, we can call it detention, have they been exposed to anything like that?
No formal education, which was, the subject of the application for court orders. One of the requests addressed that issue. And it's very unfortunate. There were persons who would come informally to, try to teach the children a few things, but I'm hoping the situation will be rectified with urgency in accordance with the principle of the best interest of the child.
Thank you this morning for your time. Maylene Lane. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Good. Attorney at law for the Haitians seeking asylum in St. Mary, the major development owner. Mm-hmm. They're going to be allowed to get into work, the adults. And Maylene is hopeful that the children will be able to get some schooling. No schooling since they've been here. They've been here since when?
Since July last year.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah,
that's
so
almost
it's
a
almost
year. Yeah, it's not good. We need to find out from the Ministry of National Security if indeed this is so, because as Maylene has said, there are many things that she does not know, that she should know as the attorney, and she does not know them, not because she didn't seek after the information, but because she says the information has not been coming to her. So that's one of the things to ask the Ministry of National Security.
And when we think about the schooling as well, special arrangements would have to be made because there's a language barrier.
Yes.
So if it is that they're supposed to be exposed to all the subject areas that are on offer, you'd have to find a teacher who speaks their language, who is able to deliver those courses.
Then
for however long they're here.
Then it may seem like nitpicking to some people, but some people will say, well, what about the vaccine protocols that will kick in? What's the status of the children mingling with other children? And it's not discriminatory because the Jamaican child going into school would have to have that profile.
Mandatory.
To enter a school environment. So the same thing should apply for the Haitians. So all those things need to be worked out and need to be on the table so we can see. To revisit something that was said on Nationwide at 5 last evening concerning the meeting involving members of the Transport Steering Committee and public passenger vehicle operators and investors and the government representatives. A big meeting, huge room, a lot of people in it, men and women. And the word from Edgerton Newman from Todd's, he said something that is a massive, massive development. Story number 5, Jermaine, where he said, Edgerton Newman, that the vexed issue of PPV operators not being able to set down or pick up passengers at bus stops across the Kingston metropolitan area, and that's long been an issue. I can't count. Literally, I can't count, and I can count, but I can't count the number of taxi operators over time who've been ticketed because them stop near the bus stop or them stop at the bus stop or try do a quick let off before police come. Police car driving by stop gives you a ticket. The number of taxi operators who received tickets for stopping at bus stops in the corporate area, that number is huge. And I on the one hand, I have not much sympathy for taxi operators because them drive like hogs. But at the same time, because I understand their plight, I have sympathy for them, because when I see something like that, where the corporate area especially is not designed for them to be able to stop anywhere, whether to let off or to pick up, and then when they take the chance to stop at the designated stop area for buses, they get penalized. I say, boy, the system is really unfair to them. Listen to what Edgerton Newman says about that issue and when that issue was raised at the meeting and the give that the taxi operators got.
We could not stop at a bus stop as a taximan. You have to stop 40 feet from a bus stop. Now the bus stop's name, it is suggested, will be changed to PPV stops. Okay. That is good news for the taxi operators, not just in KMTR, but right across Jamaica, where we never have a taxi stop, and now we have a PPV stop. Yes. I think that's an excellent.
So all public passenger vehicles can now stop at the bus stops.
Absolutely, that is what's on the table.
That's major.
But we have to monitor that though, because 83 bus stop in Harbour Tree, have mercy, when the long bus come and many taxi want to stop there also. So we have to monitor some things that makes adjustment, but yes, I think that is a major one for the team.
So Tana, I think Edgerton Newman is even downplaying it. It is not big. It is gargantuan. It is humongous. This is a massive thing. I know many taxi operators are listening to us and saying, you know how much ticket me pay for stop at bus stop?
Oh, I saw some yesterday. Reels with paper for the same thing.
The last one I saw for real, I was coming down Constant Spring Road from Matilda's corner, from Mirabrown's corner rather. Mm-hmm. And the bus stop right at Oakland's. Taximan always stop there, so, and them just always unlucky for the police them always come and swoop down on them. I saw one on the weekend. Did I see one? Yes, on Monday. I may have seen one on Monday as well. Yes. So it's a huge thing. It's been a huge thing for decades now. And relief, Tana. But here's the question. Suppose now Tana is driving her private motor car. And the PPV stops. You're going to change the name from bus stops to PPV stop. So bus taxi, whether state-owned bus or private taxi, private bus can stop there. So Tana is driving her motor vehicle with her helper. Or her gardener, or her day's worker, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Somebody who works for her. And you want to drop that person. So say, Miss Thomas, beg you could drop down the road now so we can get the bus to go home. All right, no problem. Jump in your vehicle, you drive her down or him. Which party I go stop? Because them say PPV stop.
I'm gonna be ticketed.
So it may seem like something small, but it's not, because in that instance, I mean, you want to drop the person in reasonable proximity to where they can go to get the bus, especially Indeed. At rush hour, busy time. Mm-hmm. So what happens? Must we as private citizens and private motorists say, if it's a PPV stop, couldn't members of the public who are making drop-offs, I notice Mr. drop-off, you don't expect you to park and wait for nobody. So don't wait on your helper there, Mr. King. Yeah, you're too stay bad. If you're dropping off or picking up fast move, could we be allowed to use the same designated area? Because it's not like there's any alternative. Mm-hmm. Because anywhere else you stop, it's going to be a ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah? So we welcome this move. I can't tell you how frustrated I've been on behalf of the taxi operators over time by this rule. And know that this rule has been changed. Boy, I feel good, and I've never owned a taxi in my life.
And I hope they don't abuse it and start using it as a taxi stand, staying there now instead of doing what you're supposed to do, let off and go.
I've long been frustrated by how disorganized Halfway Tree is, because the police are there and I see so much wrong happening. But I've changed my mind about that, because I've been through Halfway Tree when the police are not there. And if you think you see chaos when the police are there, wait till the police are not there. It is mayhem. The left lane, right at NCB. So you're coming down to turn to come.
Oh my goodness.
That lane is a taxi stand.
Yes.
Taxi behind each other's parked there permanently. Once the police are not there, they just park right there. Then on the other side at Jamaica National, it's the same thing. In the left lane, them just park there no matter the hour of the day. Once the police are not in that space, they park in the middle road, and you as a private motorist have to face the headache of trying to navigate them and then them tell you about your mother, tell you about your parents, tell you about all of these things, and you're saying, but I'm a motorist, legitimate motorist. Why is it that the taxi operators are behaving as if I have less rights to the road than them? Which is why, Tana, when you look at the schedule of fines and the demerit points, you can't sorry for them. Because the man, them don't use the roads properly. They don't drive properly. And they make you feel as if you are imposing on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So, I don't know.
They block up the roads and you're getting roasted for telling them that they're blocking up the roads. That's not where you're supposed to be. You're using up a whole lane.
On Mullines Road. So, what they do now, right in the vicinity of where Burt's is. So they swing around and they're driving head on. You're driving in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
They come head on and are chasing you out of the road. So if you move out of the what's it not road, Lego the road, this, that. So you know what I do?
Mm-hmm.
I drive and they're approaching me. I slow down and they're driving, blinking lights or flailing arms. I stop the car and I put it in park and I sit and I look at them. And them cuss and them vent and them cuss. And I just look. And then some kind person on the side of the road that they should be, allows them to squeeze into the line and then pass me and tell me all kind of things. And I just calmly just move along. Because me nah come out of the road. Because me there on my side of the road, in my lane. Yeah? The taxi operators make between Red Hills Road, on Red Hills Road, between the overhead bridge, Germain, right at Kalawar Muse, to go up to Red Hills Mall. I put it as far as that. Because, to be fair, beyond that, them not so bad. Yeah? If it Whitehall, turn off and go further up. Tana, on a regular day, I drove that way for 7 years.
I hear it's an extreme sports right there.
Listen, you talk about skate pan the toll? The taxi man them skate pan Red Hills Road. Every day, no matter what, no matter who. It is lawless. And we, the private motorists, are suffering. You think taxi man are suffer or we are suffer? Especially the women driving alone, or them bully the woman them. Yeah? I intimidate them. So boy, I not lie now. I have enough taxi friend, but boy, me not sorry for no. Me not sorry for no. Yeah? Yeah? And the taxi, can I say this before we go? Sometimes, I think the way the police are deployed on the streets of the corporate area, it's almost like they're out there to do tax collection and not out there to do policing. Why do I need a police team at Surbiton Road? Hide behind, which part the bush, hide the stoplight. The bush hide the stoplight that the policemen are around the corner to go onto Waterloo Road. You turn, them stop you. You break the stop sign. When man a skate, already was rolling a 4 or 5 lanes when they're on the 2 lanes there, and no police is out there. What the private motorists are suffering. We are suffering. So we need Minister Vaz, we need Ralston Smith, we need Owen Ellington, we need Colonel Daniel Price to protect us from these taxi and bus operators. They might kill we at daytime. Anyway.
ACP Gary McKenzie.
ACP, morning ACP.
Think about the deployment of your officers assigned to Peace Step. Yeah, you want to place some of them along Red Hills Road.